What's the sluttiest thing you've ever done? I had sex with my wife before work instead of before bed. Some girl offered to blow me if I bought her cookies from McDonald's. Got a $1.07 blowjob that night. I felt pretty grimy after that. My GF gave me a blowjob in the back of a car while her best friend drove. I caught her watching us in the rearview mirror. I ducked a guy I had met an hour prior, in a small supply closet, at a bar in New York City. The door didn't close all the way, and at one point, a busboy was walking up the stairs to go to the rooftop, and he caught us. We frantically were pulling our pants up, apologizing, and he just chuckled and told us to finish. We did not finish. Just a friendly reminder, you're picturing everyone as way more attractive than they actually are. Happy reading. I engaged in a sexual relationship with one of my paper suppliers in exchange for discounts for my company, as well as Outback Steakhouse coupons. Had sex with 4 girls in college, not knowing they were all friends, nor leading any of them on. Tried to have a relationship with one, and that's when it all blew up and I learned the awful truth. I missed my stop reading these. I met a girl because I went outside at a party to have a smoke and found her bawling her eyes out because she broke up with her boyfriend. 10 minutes later we were upstairs in an empty room ducking like rabbits. I always feel like this is worst thing I've done. Second would be the hottest 60+ YO woman I met while getting drunk in a jacuzzi at a hotel area. We were staying there for my grandmother's 70th anniversary shindig, so my whole family was there. I was invited back to this woman's room after a lot of drinks and learned a lot of new it when it comes to sex. But goddamn was she in good shape and looked great for her age. Probably the time I ducked my step cousin in a shed at my actual cousin's wedding. We boned again later at the condo I was staying at. I made my brother go upstairs with my noise cancelling headphones before she got there and told him to listen to loud music for a while. Ducked a girl in the Wet Republic Club pool in Las Vegas that I had met about 90 seconds prior. The only thing I know about her is she was 36 at the time. I've been having a sexual relationship with my boss for the last 6 months or so. We're both single, and I'm his kid's nanny. I once made a hot girl character in an MMO, Perfect World, and Raoul played as a girl to get SHT from people. Barely managed to keep it up for 4 days before the creep factor got too heavy, but I cannot deny the results. I felt like an utter slut, but by god did I make some serious progress. Had sex in the mosh pit of a Marilyn Manson concert, to the jealous girl that kept pulling my hair from behind every time I got in a rhythm. Thank you. You bought me another 5 minutes. I had sex with 2 different girls the same night by telling one I had to work at 9 and told the other I got off work at 9. Also I did it at my neighbors that I was dog sitting for. Was at a bar when a girl sat next to me and asked if I wanted to make out. I said yes. Partly helped by all the shots downed earlier. Ended up having a threesome with her and her ex in a bedroom upstairs. Only learned their names the day after. The guy ended up becoming my boss a few weeks later. I got a handjob from 2 sisters. I sat in the middle of the car and they both played with my D. Was a great night. In my wild days, I had a threesome with one of my friends with benefits and a girl he knew. The FWB had been drinking and fell asleep during it, so the girl and I kept going with each other. When we were finished, she left, and I had sex with the other guy living in the apartment. I once got a blowjob in the back of my parents' car while my parents were driving. A girl was pretending to be asleep on my lap. I fingered a girl's ass in the Pacific Ocean. 1 chick at the same time. Does reluctant sex work count? Used to clean houses naked for money. I'm poor, and I'm trying to apply to med school. One time I was playing GTA Online as a female character and some dude came up to me asking if I wanted a good time. As any reasonable person would do, I said yes and got in his car. He made me crouch in front of him to blow him and he would air thrust in my direction. All the while messaging me oh yeah and ugh kind of thing. As terrible as it sounds, he would protect me from other players and would pull out his super nice brand new DLC cars for me to drive around in and he would carry me through missions for his money. I even would make him take me out to burger and taco places before he could have his way with me. 10/10 would do it again. Helped me pay for my first nice car. Edit. And dude. A year later. Thank you for the platinum. I ducked my co-worker at work on top of the bar, and in the handicap stall in the women's bathroom, and then the bathroom sink counter. After we closed, of course. Also met a guy at a bar when I just went to have a bratwurst and be left alone. He was in town for business and leaving early the next day. I offered to show him around the city. He said sure. I was on my period, but I have an oral fixation, so I had a one night stand with throat ducking. Met a girl on Tinder. We went to the mall together. Within a few minutes, we were in her car next to a rather busy car dealership ducking each other's brains out. Dealership workers definitely saw. Nearly every other time we had sex, we were in her car on public property. I shower naked in front of other men. At the gym. Stole an AC 130 care package and ended the round with a nuke. Swiped right onto 100 girls and only matched with a bot. One time a girl drove 2 hours to have sex with me. We had sex pretty much all day, but my dad was about to be some, so I was trying to get her to leave. Well, my dad arrived, so I force her to go out the back. When she's walking to her car in front of my house, my dad goes, "Look, cute girl, go get her number." Little did he know. I once had sex with Eartha Kitt in an airplane bathroom. Oh god, this is a tie. Met a girl on Tinder that used to be a stripper and is a current cam girl. Thought she was joking and called her bluff, asking to go to the club she used to work at. Went there and had free entry and drinks all night. Went back to my place. She stripped for me. Had some 7/10/6. Woke up the next morning and she asked if she could use my room to do a cam show. About halfway through her show she walks out and says one of my regulars noticed I was in a different room. I told him I was at a guy's house and he just paid me $100 for you to duck me. I obliged and she gave me $50 of it. Second is there was a supervisor from work. We'll call her Amy. I thought was pretty cute, but she'd turned down going out twice, so I left it alone. Her friend. We'll call her Belle. An operational manager. Step higher than a supervisor. Let me know Amy doesn't like going out with people from work, but they go out for drinks all the time, and Amy actually had interest in me. Belle and I set up a plan where her and Amy will go out for drinks. Belle will text me where they are, and I'll accidentally run into them. Fast forward to that night, we are all hammered and get a lift back to my place. Belle passes out as soon as she gets to my place and Amy and I go at it. The next morning Amy wakes up and gets a lift to work. Belle wakes up shortly after, rolls into bed with me, and says, "Do I get a reward for helping you out last night?" and proceeds to suck the soul out of me. 5/7 night. Probably wouldn't do it again though. I plugged a few Skittles into my butthole and told my girlfriend to taste the rainbow. I ducked this chick my best friend hooked me up with. She left, I went to bed with no shower. In the morning my ex-girlfriend shows up to my place. Things start getting heated. She proceeds to suck my D, tasting all of the other girl from the night before. Yeah, pretty sleazy. 3 different people at 3 different times of the same day. 2 of them always treated me terribly. Banged a dude in the parking lot of the school. Arrived to chemistry class with jizz in my eyebrow. 5 people in 4 days. All individual, so it wasn't like an orgy or anything. Related but separate occasion. 4 people at once. I've done a lot of group stuff, but I think that was the most. Probably not the sluttiest. So I met this girl at a club I knew. I knew her from childhood. She liked the way I looked. She was clearly drunk. I was pretty intoxicated as well. I suggested we go outside to get to know each other better. We go outside and she starts sucking me off. Then stops. As I was drunk, I was going soft at the rate of a ribbon dropping. So I started to masturbate to keep hard. I didn't realize how fast I was going and I ended up ejaculating all over my jeans. I once ran through fields of wheat. Ducked 5 people in one day. Straight male here. I let my girlfriend peg me. I had given her anal before, so it was fair game. Bro, that it was enlightening. I learned how vulnerable getting penetrated can make you feel. And I'm not even going to lie, I moaned like a whore. I once jerked off to the comment section of an AskReddit post. Met a guy at a party, and back to his place. We started having sex and he suddenly started crying and talking about his ex. He locked himself in the bathroom. His roommate shows up a minute later and I duck him instead. Before going back to the party. Lol. Got cum in the holes where my wisdom teeth used to be 2 days after I got them removed. I was once voluntarily homeless for about a year, after reading Henry Miller's tale of his life as a starving artist in Paris, of how he could be fed at least once a day by finding 7 friends and only imposing on them once a week for dinner. I set out to find 7 girlfriends. Based on Henry's model, my notion was that I would have both good loving and a place to stay every night without imposing. In due time I had 6 different women that I was seeing, but soon found that I was making love to one at night and again in the morning, and then the next one would want to duck me soon after I arrived at her house, and then again, and again. I never thought I could get burned out on 6, but it happened. What followed was a period of time when women would meet me and want me, but I would say no. I soon learned that women don't like being rejected any more than men do. Eventually I came to understand that quantity is never a good substitute for quality, particularly when it comes to sex and making love. I found a lover who made me very happy and I'm still with her many years later. Went on a trip with my friends who are still in college to New Orleans. We stayed in a itty motel. I ended up in a room with a bunch of their friends who I didn't really know, with 2 things of Mad Dog and blunts. Some girl dragged me into the bathroom and we ducked. Apparently it wasn't quite and everyone knew it happened. I woke up the next morning and looked at my buddy and he said, "So you ducked XXXXX last night?" I responded with, "Is that who it was?" Not my proudest moment. Bareback ducked a dancer at a local strip club. Alcohol clouds judgment. And an hour later bareback ducked her mom, who also was a part-time dancer at the club. I forgot to pray yesterday. I once made an AskReddit post begging for 6 stories but forgot to mark it NSFW. I was all set to jack off to these strangers' comments, but then my mom got home from work. I still had lots of homework, so I had to close everything quick to get it done before bedtime. Had sex with my co-worker for years. In fact, although we're not co-workers anymore, we still have sex a lot. She's also my wife now. A girl I'd never met in person before texted me "wanna bang?" here at 2:30 AM right after I got home from a party. I took an Uber to her place. I discovered she looked nothing like her pictures. We ducked anyway because I was drunk, and I took an Uber back. I was gone for a total of 47 minutes. The worst part was when she asked me if it was worth dinner as I was leaving. I thought she was joking, so I just laughed. She looked at the floor and said, "Oh, never mind." I didn't think so anyway, in the most dejected voice. I felt really bad about that. Met a girl in Las Vegas at an EDM concert while on coke for the first time. I don't normally experiment with drugs. She was dancing staring at me, said she really liked my beard. We exited the dance floor and she was telling me she won a Sunday school teacher. Followed by "Don't worry, I still know how to have fun," and in short order after that said she was going to duck me as soon as we left. We found my friend that I was sharing a room with, told him I was headed back and he shouldn't come back anytime soon. Wink wink. Me and the lady make it to the taxi where she says she's not wearing any panties. I checked, she wasn't, and she liked it. Long story shortened, we get to the room and she tells me I can do anything I want to her. She stayed the night, we went at it in the morning, and she left without stealing anything, which was a nice bonus. For whatever reason we exchanged numbers and she would send me dirty videos. Mid-20s were a crazy time. A girl used to blow me for rides home from work. She lived like 10 minutes from work, and I didn't miss a shift in almost 2 years before she moved. Thinking back on it at 16-18, I was pretty happy at the time. But now that I think about it, I feel kinda bad. Watch a ganado. I had sex in the back of car with my best friend's ex-girlfriend on 2 separate occasions. Only a few weeks after they broke up. Then I started sleeping with that girl's older sister only a couple of weeks after that. The older sister is now my girlfriend and knows all about it. Somehow we have family meals together without me being crucified. But I still feel pretty dirty about it. Had a threesome once. There was a few no-shows. I still had fun. Without a doubt, this is the furthest I've ever read into a comment thread on Reddit. This it is fascinating. Ducked ex-girlfriend in a Taco Bell bathroom back when it was just a single person bathroom and the doors could be locked. We finished, grabbed some food, then said duck it and did it again in the girls' bathroom. Kind of a toss up between that one time I hooked up with 3 different people in the same day, and that one time on a San Francisco sidewalk outside a bar on a ducking random Wednesday when a girl shouted, "Anybody wanna go home with me?" 4-6. And I looked at her and said okay. I later had to go running back out of her house to find condoms and ended up bumming one from a prostitute, who winked and smiled at me and said, "You'll have fun." I met a girl I had never seen before at a college bar, a college neither of us attended, at about 10 PM. By 1:30, we were at her place and had sex twice. She gave me free McDonald's the next day. We just had our 16th anniversary. We're really happy. Happier than most of our friends. We talk all the time. We still rent but we have a porch and play cards outside when it's nice. She usually wins. It was a birthday party for one of my friends in high school. We were all watching a movie on this inflatable screen in their backyard. I was sitting next to my girlfriend at the time, and we had a blanket over us to keep warm. She then proceeded to give me a handy underneath the blanket. I was convinced no one knew. Everyone knew. Never felt like more of a SL00T in my life. Slept with a 42-year-old and 21-year-old within 24 hours after meeting both the same night. Felt equal parts slutty and proud. When I was a minor, 17, I asked a guy I had met on Tinder to buy me alcohol in exchange for a blowjob. He agreed and he came and picked me and my friends up to take us to Safeway. He went in without us and bought vodka and smoked us out on our way to a park near my friend's house. When we got to the park, my friends got out and sat at a picnic table about 75 feet away. The guy and I got into the back seat. I blew him, grabbed the alcohol, walked back to my friend's house, and got pretty drunk that night. Back alley BJ while I was in Vegas. Pretty tame compared to most of the stories here. Hooked up with a friend's sister in my car and she proceeded to go full starfish mode, to the point where it felt like I was ducking a corpse. I proceeded to fake an orgasm and dropped her off and called an ex to have some somewhat good sex that night. I didn't even take a shower in between. Sluttiest thing ever? I slept with 5 different people over the course of 36 hours. Spring break in the Bahamas. For the sole purpose of proving to my buddies that I was over my ex. I also somehow managed to go from chasing after a drunken girl who stole my hat to having sex behind a fraternity house with said girl in about 15 minutes. Still not sure how that happened. Sluttiest thing I've ever witnessed is a girl taking a friend of mine upstairs, blowing and ducking him, letting him finish inside her, and then come back downstairs to pick up another guy. She repeated this with about 6 guys that we know of. Could have been more. No one found out until the next morning, at which point they all took a walk over to the free clinic. I showered and had sex with 2 girls in a camping shower stall when I was 15. I knew these girls for about 1 week. Once got paid $40 to make out with someone at a party. I'm a 25-year male. She was not the most attractive woman, but I was in college and $40 felt like $200. I'm not wearing a bra right now. This chick I was friends with for a while told me through text she was hard up for cash and I was drunk, so I responded back that I'd give her $20 to show me her tits. So her response was stop by. I'm at work. She worked at a hotel. I get there and it's late and we go in the back behind the front desk where she pulls her tits out. And they were everything I had hoped for. Anyways, I wasn't letting those things be put away without at least grabbing one, so I did and she was into it. Next thing you know, she's pulling her pants off. I put her up on the laundry room counter and I'm going balls deep in her. Good times. She told me that was what led her to become a stripper, and as far as I know she still strips to this day. I fingered my now ex girlfriend while she jacked me off in a movie theater. It wasn't actually as enjoyable as either of us were expecting. I didn't know my way around a pussy. She didn't know her way around a D. It got awkward. I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom. Had sex with 3 different women in the same day. I'm a girl. Had sex with someone just so I had somewhere to stay that night. Not homeless. Just a drunk 18-year-old D-head at the time. This might get buried, but 1. Ducked a guy in the college dorm common area. 2. Got drunk and woke up in a guy's dorm. Proceeded to have a 6. I have no idea who he was. He denies it now. 3. Let 4-5 guys, all older than my dad, have their way with me in exchange for copious amounts of sugar. 4. Hooked up with the table I was serving. Repeat 4 times with other customers. 5. Let a guy set up an appointment for me to have a 6 with a random unknown dude in his car in a parking lot. 6. Had 6 with a guy who made me hide in a closet because he thought he heard his GF. 7. Had 6 with 3 different guys at different times in one day. I could probably continue, but these are the highlights. I had 6 with a girl who I thought was a whore in her parents' garage up against her father's truck. Turns out she was a virgin. Well, years later I actually hung out with her a few times and it turns out we got along well. I have been married to her for more than 10 years now. I hooked up with a guy I met in a bar who was significantly younger than me. We went back to my place and did what you do in these situations, and then he went home. I woke up the next day with the worst case of strep throat I have ever had in my life, and it later developed into a UT. Serves me right, I suppose. I sucked off a guy I met on FetLife in my own home. We never exchanged any names either. He just walked in, dropped drawer, sat down, and I got to work. My ex-GF got drunk and let 3 guys she met at a bar club go to town on her. She started ignoring my text around 8:30 p.m. while she was getting ready with friends, and didn't respond until 7:30 a.m. Then told me at 7 p.m. after I picked her up what happened and started crying.